Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Insanely Sane Show TV. I'm gonna review the Halloween 2018 movie. I've watched it on the opening day, and please accept my apologies. I was planning to kind of do this unscripted review then, but I thought I should kind of give myself some time to kind of think about what I just saw, and two, I'm just a busy person at the moment. I'm just writing my novel, so I just don't get time to do this kind of stuff. But after kind of letting it sit just a little bit, and kind of everybody's kind of seen it now, so I think, you know what, it's the right time to kind of do like a spoilery unscripted review. Okay, so this is going to be unscripted. It's going to be a spoilery review for the Halloween 2018 movie. But just before I begin, if you want to know what I thought about the movie, I just thought it wasn't good. I'm just kind of disappointed, really. In all honesty, but yeah, I just think it missed the mark so badly, and I will go through why I think it missed the mark, because almost everything about this movie was good, was great, fantastic. Okay, the only problem is that there's one key thing with the story structure. There's one key thing that was missing, that kind of ruined this whole thing for me. Okay, and I think it ruined it for a lot of the fans and a lot of the people who actually watched the movie. So you have been warned. This is going to be a spoiler review. It's going to be an unscripted spoiler review, and it's going to be a spoiler review of Halloween 2018. So we're going to start from now. Okay, so I'm going to start with the pros of this movie. Okay, first of all, Laurie Strode, like I said, she's a badass, and Jamie Lee Curtis's acting is great. Okay, I was kind of worried that they might, I didn't mention it in my previous video, but I was kind of worried that they might go this SJW route, where she's like an absolute badass and she can probably actually just walk through Michael Myers and that kind of like Rey from the new Star Wars movies. But no, it's you know what it is. The problem with SJW Star Wars stuff and these kind of movies is that these women are either victims, or they are so highly skilled that they can slice through anything that comes in their way, and that's just not how you write a character. Forget the whole debate on should women take upon basically these action roles and that kind of stuff. No. The debate isn't actually on that. The whole, and I'm sure this thing people have written on this, but the problem with the SJW stuff is a lot of this stuff is a lot of these characters, they're badasses when there is no reason for them to be badasses, and they are too powerful. They're so powerful, you kind of think, well, why are they in that situation in the first place? Kind of like Star Wars. I thought, if Rey's this powerful, if she knows the Force and that kind of stuff, why on earth is she stuck in that situation in the first place? So that's the kind of problem with these SJW movies, that there's no consequences. And here, the way they done Laurie Strode, yeah, I mean, it makes sense for someone to be traumatized afterward, after seeing your best friends murdered. Now the way they actually played it out, of her being traumatized because of this reason, it kind of justifies why she is the way she is in the story. So I thought they've done a good job with that. It's foreshadowed. I think it's a little too far to kind of say she's been waiting for him for the last 40 years to break out. Yeah, I mean, it is a very traumatic experience, but I'm sure she would have kind of found a bit of solace, and she would have probably been able to kind of recover from it in that amount of time. But I'm okay with it. If they, the way they done it, it was fine. If you watch it, it's it's fine. Also, I just want to say another pros was that she's flawed, so she makes mistakes. Like I said, Rey in Star Wars makes no mistakes. What do they call it? A Mary Sue. Okay. The Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018, she's flawed. and you see her make mistakes. You see her fail, and you see her pick herself back up, and so yeah, that's another good thing. And of course, the other pros are the acting. The acting's great. The film is well cast, well directed, so on and so forth. So every other piece of the every other element of the story is great. Okay, it's wonderful. Okay, now we're going to get to the cons, because that's the most important part. And I'm going to tell you why this movie kind of, for me, just failed. It just fell flat on its face, and it was just such a shame, because you had all this good talent in place, but you just couldn't really cross the bridge, right? The issue with the story is this. If you watch the first Halloween movie, okay, because the plot line for this is kind of mimic that one. So instead of Dr. Loomis, you have Laurie Strode now, okay, and instead of Laurie Strode, you have her granddaughter, okay, and you have this kind of very interesting piece, this kind of this moral effect that her damaged nature, her traumatized nature is having on her daughter. This fragmented relationship that she's had with her daughter in the past, and kind of what it's done to kind of separate them and distance them in the present day. So it's a very good setup. Okay. So, and it's a very good addition to the formula. But yeah, I mean, it's essentially at its core, it's following a similar structure as the first. Here's the problem. In the first movie, okay, Michael Myers, he didn't have a motivation in terms of, he didn't have a reason for doing what he done. He didn't have a reason for killing people. But once he broke out of the mental asylum, he had a plan. He had an objective. Okay, as soon as he saw Laurie Strode come up on his porch and step to his doorstep, he had his eyes on her, and his plan immediately became to kind of kill her friends and then eventually kill her. Now, why he done this, okay, was scarce. So he didn't have a reason for doing this. He just wanted to do this, and that's what made him scary. In this particular story, one of the other pros I wanted to say was Michael Myers is Michael Myers. He has the mask is perfect. Not only that, his lack of motivation kind of makes him scary again. Okay, great, wonderful. So he has a lack of motivation. You don't know why he's doing what he's doing, but the only problem is he doesn't have a plan. So he's randomly walking around Haddonfield, just randomly stabbing and killing people, which they're good scenes, by the way. They're very good scenes. It's just, that's where a lot of the tonal inconsistencies come from, okay? Because you have to introduce these characters that he kills right then and there. You have to make them sympathetic, so they kind of blend humor, extreme humor with kind of extreme sympathy, but more toward the humorous side. So you laugh at them, and you kind of become friends with them. You feel as if these characters are your friends, and then they get killed off straight afterwards. The problem is if Michael Myers, if he had like a plan, okay, I'm gonna kill these group of people, like in the first movie, okay, and he just didn't have a motive. People are trying to figure out what his motives are, and let's say Laurie Strode in this movie, she would have argued back saying he doesn't have a motive, and that's what makes him dangerous, and so on and so forth. If Michael Myers just had some kind of a plan, okay, that's what would have made him scary. And I think there was another Halloween script out there that was going to be made before it got bought by Blumhouse. There was another Halloween script called Halloween Returns, okay, and it had a different story to this. However, in that story, Michael Myers actually had a plan. He was going after this girl. I forgot what it is, but she's the daughter of one of the sheriffs in Haddonfield. In another kind of town next to Haddonfield. I forgot what the town is called. But in that script, he had a plan, and I think they should have stuck to that script, or maybe and kind of maybe worked Laurie into it somehow. But and I could see that working out, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, that's the only problem, is that there's no through line. There's good comedic scenes. There's good there are very frightening scenes in this story, okay, even though they do feel a bit rushed. And that's another problem, is that things here do feel a little rushed, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. But yeah, like I said, there are good things in this movie, but because Michael Myers doesn't have a plan, the story structure doesn't have a through line. It doesn't have this through line that it can hang its elements on. You see? So that's why all of a sudden 1 minute it's funny, next minute it's scary, next minute it's sad, next minute is this, next minute is that, and it's just kind of, it just felt disjointed, and it just felt disjointed, and it felt pointless. You know, I think if Michael Myers had a plan, okay, he was going after a group of people, or a group of people who are associated with another character that he wants to take down in the story. And Laurie Strode was on the pursuit to kind of hunt him down before he could do any more damage. You know, that is the premise that I thought this story was actually going to do, but it didn't. You know, and I think that's where it failed. It's just that. Other than that, I've got nothing bad to say about this story. Once it comes out on Blu-ray, I definitely will get it. I'm one of those guys. I'm not too keen on the past Halloween sequels, but I love the first one, obviously, and the second one I actually think is scarier than the first one. The first one is interesting, it's captivating, you know, it's right from the first frame you're kind of captivated, and it puts you in this kind of almost like this dreamlike state. If I can go as far as saying that, you know, the way it's shot, even when the girls are in the car in the first movie and they're talking, Laurie Strode and her friend, the one that's driving the car, and she's smoking, and it's shot in this kind of very dream-esque way. You know, there's the sunlight, I forgot what it's called, but there's the sunlight kind of flaring in between them as they talk and that kind of stuff. It's very well shot. You know, it's John Carpenter. He's a genius. You know, he will figure it out. He could figure out how to bloody make a potato sack look great. You know, so that's just John Carpenter. But yeah, in this particular story, it's the story just didn't have a through line. That was the problem. Okay, and yeah, that's more or less it. You know, that's the only thing I have for this review, is that it's a bit of a shame. But yeah, I will get it on Blu-ray. I think it's still good. No, it's a good movie. If you want to go see it, you can. But I think the average moviegoer might be happy with it. Okay. But if you're someone like me who's watched a lot of movies, not just horror movies, but just a lot of movies in general, someone who basically just loves stories, yeah, I think you might kind of be a little, little let down by the lack of a through line, basically.